We've tracked this for months. Today it stops being theory. The Wegovy pill is here. Canada is about to approve generics, and a new medication could help people stay on GLP-1s long enough to see results.
Welcome back to the Downsized News, and Happy New Year from our family to yours. Today is Monday, January 5th, 2026, and this is our first news episode of the year. I'm Laraine Durham, and I've lost more than 50 pounds using tirzepatide.
And I'm Christopher Durham. I've lost 100 pounds using GLP-1s. Every week we break down the stories shaping obesity care, from Zepbound, Mounjaro, Wegovy, and Ozempic to what's coming next, with a focus on the research, the policy, and what it means for real people. If you're new to our channel, welcome, and if we've helped you over the past year, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to The Downsized. Those small clicks help us reach people who are just starting to search for answers.
One quick reminder before we begin, we're not doctors, and this is not medical advice. We're just sharing what we've learned along the adventure that we've been on.
A new year means new questions, new breakthroughs, and a new hope for millions of people trying to change their lives.
And before we get started, I'm excited to welcome our first ever sponsor of the Downsized News, the Hume Body Pod. It's an at-home body composition scanner that shows far more than just your weight. In about 60 seconds, it tracks muscle, body fat, visceral fat, metabolic age, and more, so you can see real progress even when the scale does not move. We have one and we love it. You'll find the link in our exclusive discount in the description. Thank you to Hume for sponsoring the Downsized News. Here are today's stories.
Story number one, we have reported on this moment for months. We have reported on the trials, the FDA review, the pricing questions, and what an oral GLP-1 could mean for access. Today, that story is no longer theoretical. The Wegovy pill is officially here. Novo Nordisk confirmed this morning that Wegovy pill, the first and only oral GLP-1 approved for weight loss in adults, is now broadly available across the United States. It is launching through more than 70,000 pharmacies, including CVS and Costco, as well as select telehealth providers such as Ro, LifeMD, and Weight Watchers, along with NovoCare Pharmacy and GoodRx. The FDA approved the Wegovy pill on December 22, 2025. It is oral semaglutide and is prescribed along with a reduced calorie diet and increased physical activity for adults with obesity or for adults with overweight who also have weight-related medical problems. Novo says the starting 1.5 milligram dose is available today for $149 per month, or about $5 per day, through a self-pay offer. Commercially insured patients may pay as little as $25 per month with the Wegovy Savings Program. The data behind this launch is what makes it historic. In the Oasis 4 Phase 3 trial, patients taking the 25 milligram Wegovy pill achieved an average weight loss of about 17% if all patients stayed on the treatment. When looking at all patients regardless of whether they stayed on treatment, average weight loss was about 14%. By comparison, people taking placebo lost about 2 to 3%. Novo Nordisk's Senior Vice President Ed Sinka said the company believes this will bring many people off the sidelines, offering the powerful efficacy of Wegovy in a once-daily pill. The medication is taken once daily and must be taken at least 30 minutes before food, coffee, or other medications. Common side effects in Oasis 4 were similar to the injectable version and included nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting. For millions of people who have followed this story with us, today is not just a product launch. It is the moment the first GLP-1 pill for weight loss becomes real. So you can go buy it right now.
Or Wegovy. All right.
Yeah. So people keep asking, how do I get it? Go to your doctor, get a prescription, go to your pharmacy.
You have a prescription that you could fill at your local pharmacy.
Correct.
In story number 2, starting next week, something happens in Canada that could change the future of weight loss treatment far beyond its borders. On January 4th, drug companies will be legally allowed to begin producing generic versions of Semaglutide, the active ingredient in Ozempic and Wegovy. But experts say patients should not expect those lower-priced alternatives to appear overnight. The reporting comes from the Canadian Press by journalist Nicole Ireland, who notes that as of December 29th, Health Canada has already received 9 submissions from pharmaceutical companies seeking approval to manufacture generic semaglutide. Health Canada understands that there is considerable interest in lowering costs associated with this highly prescribed drug by introducing generic versions. agency spokesperson Mark Johnson said in an email. According to Health Canada's list of submissions, companies including Sandoz Canada, Apotex, Teva Canada, Taro Pharmaceuticals, and Aspen Pharmacare Canada have all applied for authorization. But approval will take time. Johnson said Health Canada's target review timeline for generic drug applications is 180 days, and that does not include extra time if the agency needs additional data. These products are complex synthetic drugs that are pharmaceutically equivalent to the brand name medication, but with possible differences that could impact safety and efficacy, Johnson said. Manufacturers must show that those differences do not affect the safety, efficacy, or quality of the drug. Because of that, experts do not expect Canadians to see a generic semaglutide product until late spring or early summer. Canadians should not be. When the generics arrive, the price drop could be dramatic. Based on Canada's pricing models, the cost could fall to as low as 35% of the brand name price, which currently runs a few $100s per month. Canada is the only country where Novo Nordisk allowed its semaglutide patent to lapse, ending regulatory exclusivity on January 4th. Novo Nordisk Canada President Vince Lamana declined to discuss the lapse in detail, but said more than 1 million Canadians are currently using Ozempic or Wegovy. Irrespective of what happens in January or through 2026, we're committed to supporting patients on semaglutide, Lamana said, adding that the company will continue to offer financial assistance to some patients who do not want to switch to a generic. Meanwhile, Novo's biggest competitor, Eli Lilly, still holds active Canadian patents on Mounjaro and Zepbound. Lilly said it remains confident in the differentiated benefits of tirzepatide, but did not say whether it plans to reduce prices to compete with generic semaglutide. For now, Canada is about to become the first country where fully regulated generic semaglutide is possible. It may take months to arrive, but when it does, it could finally show what affordable access to GLP-1s really look like, and put pressure on the rest of the world to follow. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I mean, you've got these two semaglutide stores, one after the other, right? So oral Wegovy launching at $149, generic semaglutide just across the border in Canada.
Just across the border. Can I get Canadian delivered to North Carolina?
It's going to be 30% is what they're saying of a couple of $100s.
So that could be $50, $60.
If you guys don't see,
$100?
if you guys don't see a price war happening, I don't. It's like all the signs are there. The battles are lining up.
And you know, somebody at Novo Nordisk got fired, and probably then some, for letting that patent lapse.
Probably. And Lily's going, "Oh, our drug's better." Well, yeah, your drug is better, Lily. No question about it. We like tirzepatide, but there's still a value equation.
But yeah, if I can get generic semaglutide in Canada
for $50. Or something around there.
You know, people will be crossing that border to get that medicine all day long.
So is tirzepatide, Zepbound at $4.99
or even
worth 10 times? Is it 10 times better?
Lilly Direct vials. I mean, no. For people just starting, for people who never had access and want access, this is huge news. Along with the Wegovy pill at $149 for the starting dose.
I'm not sure I believe it's 10 times better. I would have tried generic semaglutide for $50 a month in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
In a heartbeat.
Absolutely. If this was rewind to before we started our journey, if this was the cheapest option, yeah. Well, actually, it was cheaper than tirzepatide when we started.
But not this much cheaper.
Not that much cheaper.
No.
Yeah.
No. Again, value equation.
It's important.
Absolutely. Story number 3, the FDA approved a new motion sickness drug last week, and while that may not sound like a GLP-1 story, it could end up mattering more to GLP-1 users than almost anyone else. On December 30th, the FDA approved Neris, also known as tradipitant, from Vanda Pharmaceuticals. It is the first FDA-cleared treatment for motion-induced vomiting in more than 40 years. For decades, patients have relied on the same options: The scopolamine patch, first approved in 1979, over-the-counter medications like meclizine and dihydrogenate, that has been the entire toolbox. The real opportunity for this drug is not motion sickness. It is whether it can help patients stay on GLP-1 therapies. Tradipitant blocks the neurokinin-1 or NK1 receptor, a pathway long linked to nausea and vomiting. Drugs in this class are already used in oncology to prevent chemotherapy-related nausea. Now Vanda is testing whether the same approach can reduce the side effects that push many patients off GLP-1s. In a Step 1 extension study, participants who discontinued semaglutide regained a large share of the weight they had lost within a year. So staying on therapy is not optional. It is the treatment. That is where tradipitant could matter. In a randomized controlled study announced November 17, 2025, Vanda reported that tradipitant reduced vomiting by roughly half in participants who were given a 1 milligram Wegovy injection, a dose that normally takes 9 weeks to reach. Only 29.3% of people taking tradipitant experienced vomiting, compared to 58.6% on placebo. The company plans to begin phase 3 trials in the first half of 2026. Even optimistic analysts see the motion sickness market topping out at around $100 million a year. Not a bad-sized market just for that. GLP-1s, by contrast, are one of the biggest drug classes in the world. And if tradipitant can help patients tolerate GLP-1s, reach maintenance doses faster, and stay on therapy longer, its real value will not be as a travel drug. It will be as a side effect survival tool for people treating the disease of obesity. But nausea is not the only reason people stop. Cost, insurance barriers, prior authorizations, shortages, and expectations about how long treatment should last still matter. So the real test is simple. Can this drug help real GLP-1 users stay on the medication long enough for it to change their lives? If it can, this new motion sickness drug may end up reshaping obesity care. So, I never really had nausea. A little tiny bit at the beginning, but I never threw up.
At the beginning, I had some nausea. Yeah, it wasn't that bad, and it went away. But a lot of people do feel very nauseous on some of these GLP-1 medications. So if this could help them stay on the drug longer, that'd be very beneficial.
Story number 4, Marks & Spencer, one of the UK's best-known food and clothing retailers, is launching a new 20-item food range designed specifically for customers whose appetites have changed while taking GLP-1 weight loss medications. For non-UK viewers, Marks & Spencer, often called M&S, is roughly comparable to a higher-end Target or Trader Joe's combined with a department store. It is widely known in Britain for ready-to-eat meals, fresh foods, and premium private brand products. The company says the new range is perfectly portioned for people using GLP-1 medications and focusing on delivering higher levels of nutrition in smaller servings. The foods are designed to be nutrient-dense, meaning they provide more protein, fiber, and essential nutrients per calorie to help people meet daily needs while eating less. The range will launch in stores on January 5th and includes salads, breads, yogurt bowls, juice shots, and heartier options such as chicken and prawn or shrimp dishes. Prices start at about £2 for smaller items and go up to around £7 for full meals. Annette Peters, head of food innovations at M&S, said the company developed the range in response to the rapid growth in GLP-1 use. We know the use of GLP-1 medications is growing, so it's more important than ever to ensure that even if people are eating smaller portions, we help provide them with the right level of nutrients, Peters said. We have challenged ourselves to make products that are denser in nutrients than calories, so every single mouthful is packed full of more of the good stuff we all need. More than 1.5 million people in the UK are believed to be accessing GLP-1 medications privately, and prescriptions through the National Health Service have reportedly risen by about 900% since 2020. Marks & Spencer said the new range is designed to help customers more easily hit protein and fiber targets while adapting the appetite changes that often come with GLP-1 therapy. So we did a story last week that Morrison's, another grocery store from the UK, was doing a similar line. I think all this just points to grocers across the world trying to figure out how to better serve our needs.
Yep, they see it coming. People are very protein and fiber focused, so if customers are buying it, that's what retailers will start offering more of.
And it turns out the solution's pretty simple. Sell better food, and it will be more nutrient dense. It will have more of the right stuff.
For sure. And story number 5, the FDA has officially updated the Mounjaro label to include children ages 10 and older with type 2 diabetes, according to the newly revised package insert. It is a regulatory change with major implications for pediatric metabolic care. Youth-onset type 2 diabetes is not a milder form of adult disease. It progresses faster, is driven by severe insulin resistance, and often overlaps with obesity and early cardiovascular risk. Yet for years, treatment options barely evolved. Metformin and basal insulin dominated care even as many families watched A1C levels rise and weight increase despite strong adherence. The updated label reflects a shift toward therapies that address the biology of pediatric disease rather than simply managing glucose numbers. The revised prescribing information shows that pediatric safety was generally similar to adults, with important differences. Gastrointestinal side effects were more common in children, particularly vomiting and abdominal pain. Hypoglycemia were also reported at higher rates, especially in patients using insulin or sulfonylureas alongside Mounjaro. The approval was driven by the SURPASS-PEDS trial published in The Lancet in 2025. The study enrolled children and adolescents aged 10 to 18 whose diabetes remained poorly controlled despite metformin, insulin, or both. Participants received weekly tirzepatide at 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams, or placebo for 30 weeks, followed by a 22-week extension. Average A1C fell by 2.2% with tirzepatide, while it slightly increased in the placebo group. BMI declined by about 7% at the lower dose and by more than 11% at the higher dose, with benefits lasting through a full year. These outcomes exceed what most pediatric diabetes therapies have achieved. Tirzepatide works through two complementary hormone pathways. GLP-1 improves insulin secretion, slows digestion, and reduces appetite. GIP enhances insulin response and improves fat handling. Together, they address glucose control and appetite biology at the same time, which is critical in children where early insulin resistance and constant hunger drive disease progression. Safe pediatric dosing was supported by a 2023 pharmacokinetic modeling study in Frontiers in Pharmacology that adapted adult exposure models for children aged 10 to 18. Pediatric doses between 50 and 88% of adult levels produce comparable drug exposure, validating age-specific titration. Although the approval is specific to type 2 diabetes, it carries broader implications. Dual incretin therapy now has validated pediatric safety data, dosing guidance, and long-term exposure evidence. That foundation has historically been missing for advancing obesity treatment in younger patients. Youth-onset obesity and youth-onset diabetes share the same metabolic roots. By clearing tirzepatide for pediatric diabetes, the FDA has lowered the scientific barrier that once blocked progress toward pediatric obesity care. Mounjaro is not yet approved for obesity in children, but the door is no longer closed. For families facing rising A1C, relentless hunger, and early insulin dependence, this update offers something that has been absent for decades, a treatment strategy grounded in biology, not blame. So Mounjaro is now, children aged 10 to under 18 for type 2 diabetes. That's fantastic.
These were kids that weren't reacting to anything. There was no medications that were helping them, basically.
They were either on metformin or
and it wasn't
insulin,
working.
And it wasn't working. So on the Mounjaro, they controlled their A1C and lost a little bit of weight. So that's
a
great.
Good thing.
So hopefully, the door's open for Zepbound to be approved for pediatric obesity at some point in the future.
Yeah, there's a lot of families out there that could use it for sure. Story number 6, Indian pharmaceutical company Lupin Limited has entered into an exclusive licensing, supply, and distribution agreement with China-based Ganli Pharmaceuticals for a novel GLP-1 receptor agonist called bofenaglutide, a long-acting injectable designed to be taken once every 2 weeks. The agreement strengthens Lupin's diabetes portfolio and accelerates its expansion into the obesity treatment market. Bofenaglutide is being developed for adults with type 2 diabetes and for weight management in people who are overweight or living with obesity. According to Lupin, clinical data show that bofanglatide delivers weight loss results that are comparable to or better than existing GLP-1 medications, while maintaining the safety and tolerability profile typical of the GLP-1 drug class. The company says the drug effectively lowers both blood glucose levels and body weight. If approved, bofanglatide would become the first globally available GLP-1 medication administered once every 2 weeks, compared with a current standard of once-weekly injectable therapies. Gan and Lee has advanced bofanglatide through late-stage development programs, including phase 3 studies, comparing the drug to existing GLP-1 therapies. The companies have not disclosed financial terms of the agreement or a timeline for regulatory submissions. Lupin said the partnership supports its strategy to expand its metabolic disease portfolio and meet growing demand for treatments that address both diabetes and obesity. So I pulled this one because, first of all, it's another player in the market, which is awesome. So once every 2 weeks, so they must have figured some way to extend that half-life.
Well, remember when we saw Dr. Lottie Knudsen at the Obesity Week conference? She said there was no reason for the half-life to only be limited to 5 days. They could basically make it anything they wanted to, up to a year.
Well, I think they were still working on it, though. They didn't actually have the technology to do that yet.
She said it was definitely possible. So a 2-week one, that'd be good. In story number 7, an Ohio lawmaker is pushing new legislation aimed at restoring access to GLP-1 weight loss medications for state employees after the state dropped coverage in early 2025 due to rising costs. House Bill 388, sponsored by Majority Whip Representative Josh Williams of Sylvania Township, would allow state employees to purchase GLP medications directly from manufacturers and receive reimbursement from the state. Williams says the approach could cut costs by more than 2/3 while preserving access to what he calls medically necessary treatment. GLP medications have been covered under Ohio's state employee health plans until the Ohio Department of Administrative Services eliminated coverage as part of a budget decision. Williams said the state previously paid between $1,100 and $1,600 per participant each month, costs he attributes in part to the use of pharmacy benefit managers whose negotiated rebates were not passed back to the state. Under House Bill 388, eligible employees would buy GLP medications directly from manufacturers and receive a monthly reimbursement of up to $500 during the first year, followed by $250 per month after that. Williams said bypassing pharmacy benefit managers would allow the state to capture lower direct-to-consumer pricing. Eligibility would be based on FDA prescribing standards and body mass index thresholds, with a grandfather clause for employees who began using the medications as early as 2023. The bill also includes a plan to taper patients off the drugs over time, with an option to re-enroll if significant weight gain occurs. Williams says restoring access could help prevent higher healthcare costs tied to obesity and related conditions, and criticized the state's current partial reimbursement program that requires employees to participate in a tightly controlled monitoring system. Quote, "I believe physicians, not government programs, should be making medical decisions," end quote, Williams said. If a doctor determines this treatment is medically necessary, the state should support that in a cost-effective way. The legislation is being amended as lawmakers work with the Department of Administrative Services and drug manufacturers to refine eligibility rules and oversight measures. Discussions are also underway about whether age restrictions should be added, including whether minors should be eligible for GLP-1 prescriptions under state employee health plans. Williams said he expects the bill to evolve as it moves through the legislature, but believes it will save the state money while protecting employees from suddenly losing access to the treatment on which they rely.
So this is an interesting approach because he's bypassing PBMs. He's saying, PBMs, we've been paying you too much money. It wasn't a good deal. Our employees can go directly to the manufacturer. We'll just reimburse them.
For $500 a month for the first year and then $250 a month after
but that gets him to, if the federal plan is to $249 in the next 2 years, that's what that number is.
All right. I like the $500 reimbursement for the first year for sure.
So I think I like a lawmaker who's looking at different ways to solve for this.
Yeah, so this is in Ohio. So Ohio viewers, what do you think? Let us know in the comments.
Story number 8, Joel Francis Hapner, MD, a pioneering endocrinologist whose foundational research helped unlock the science that underpins today's GLP-1 drugs, has died at age 88 in Newton, Massachusetts. His passing marks the loss of one of the key scientific figures behind medications like Ozempic and Mounjaro that are transforming how obesity and diabetes are treated around the world. Hapner's work dates back to the late 1970s and early 1980s when he and his collaborators first helped identify and characterize glucagon-like peptide 1, or GLP-1 as we know it, a hormone released in response to eating that plays a central role in regulating blood sugar and appetite. That discovery laid the groundwork for the class of GLP-1 receptor agonists that are now used both to treat type 2 diabetes and more recently obesity. Long before the terms Ozempic, Mounjaro, or Wegovy were household names, Hapner's basic science helped reveal how the body's incretin system influences insulin secretion and appetite control. This work, later developed by researchers and pharmaceutical teams, ultimately made possible powerful therapies that lower blood glucose, reduce hunger signals, and help many patients lose significant weight. His contributions were widely recognized in the research community. Alongside collaborators Svetlana Moisev and Jens Juul Holst, Hapner received top scientific honors, including the 2024 Lasker-DeBakey Clinical Medical Research Award for work on GLP-1-based therapies, often described by scientists as America's Nobel, reflecting the impact of this biology on human health. Colleagues and mentees remember him not only for the scientific insight, but for mentoring younger scientists who continue to push the boundaries of metabolic research. The ripple effects of Hapner's discoveries extend well beyond weight loss and diabetes to cardiovascular health and overall metabolic function. As GLP-1 drugs continue to reshape conversations about obesity, metabolism, and chronic disease and spark debates about access, cost, and clinical use, Hapner's legacy will remain central to how this story unfolded, from basic hormone biology to life-changing therapeutics for millions. This guy's cool. He's another scientist out there nobody's ever heard of, and he's just discovering stuff, and he's cool.
And he died.
Yeah, and he passed away. So, certainly his family certainly in our thoughts there. I think it also points to exactly how long scientists have been working on these drugs. So people think they're all brand new. Well, no,
they're not.
He's going back 40 years.
70s, 80s.
Yeah, 50 years.
Yeah. In story number 9, last week we told you about Chipotle launching menu options designed for people using GLP-1s. It felt like a real shift, a major food brand finally recognizing that millions of Americans are eating differently. This week it's happening again. My favorite, Shake Shack, has introduced the Good Fit menu, a new lineup of classics reworked for people who are being more intentional about how they eat, including patients who are using GLP-1s to treat the disease of obesity. The Good Fit menu launched December 18th and is available nationwide in stores and online. Instead of forcing customers to modify their orders, Shake Shack says it removed the guesswork by building simple, health-forward options directly into the menu. The focus is clear: more protein, fewer carbs, choices that better fit how many GLP-1 users now tolerate food. There are 6 items, 5 of them lettuce wrapped. The single Shack Burger lettuce wrap offers 23 grams of protein with just 3 grams of carbs. The Chicken Shack lettuce wrap provides 27 grams of protein and 11 grams of carbs. For gluten-free diners, the gluten-free Double Shack Burger delivers about 47 grams of protein. Vegetarian customers get the Double Veggie Shack lettuce wrap with about 25 grams of protein. The highest protein choices are the Double Smoked Shack lettuce wrap and the Double Avocado Bacon Burger lettuce wrap, each delivering up to 52 grams of protein with only 4 to 5 grams of carbs. The Cleveland Clinic advises GLP-1 users to focus on protein and fiber and avoid refined carbs and heavily processed foods that can worsen side effects. This menu is clearly built around that guidance. What we are now seeing is bigger than one restaurant. Chipotle did it last week. Shake Shack is doing it now. The fast food industry is beginning to recognize how GLP-1s are reshaping the way Americans eat. For patients who are using GLP-1s to treat their disease of obesity, this is not about dieting, it's about building a lifestyle that works. And now, even when you just want a burger, the menu is finally starting to meet you where you are. So lettuce-wrapped burgers. I mean, this is not a new concept, right? And if you get the double burger wrapped in
twice
lettuce,
as much protein.
You get twice as much protein. Have you ever eaten a lettuce-wrapped burger?
No, but I like a lettuce wrap in general. I mean, we do like the Asian lettuce wraps, right? That I have a video making them.
I'm
not opposed to the idea.
I guess popularized that. Yeah, I've never ordered a lettuce-wrapped burger. I don't think. I like that there's the choice. I like that you don't have to customize it. You can just order it, and you don't have to explain it. My sister's a vegetarian, so every time she goes to a burger place, she basically orders a grilled cheese, which is basically a cheeseburger without the meat. So this is just a
they must have a veggie patty of some sort. I don't know.
They do. I think it's like the Impossible burger. If not the Impossible burger, then something similar. They also have that portobello mushroom burger. Maybe they took that off their menu. However, they do still have their famous shakes, which can be over 1,000 calories per shake. So
that's not on this.
You definitely want to stay away from one.
Shake is in the name, Shake Shack.
Right. One of my social media followers suggested maybe they should add protein to their shakes and make a protein shake. I thought it was brilliant.
It is. It's still 1,000 calories.
Still 1,000 calories.
Probably not going to do that. Probably not. All right, story number 10. We need to talk about a decision in California that is about to change access to GLP-1s for hundreds of thousands of people. Lots of you have commented about this California story. Effective January 1st, 2026, Medi-Cal will discontinue coverage of GLP-1 medications when they are prescribed for weight loss or weight-related indications for adults age 21 and older. This applies to both traditional Medi-Cal and Medi-Cal managed care plans. State officials say the policy is expected to save nearly $790 million. In 2023, more than 660,000 Californians were receiving GLP-1 prescriptions through Medi-Cal. Going forward, prescriptions written specifically for weight loss will no longer be covered. According to the California Department of Health Care Services, the policy aligns with state budget directives and existing Medi-Cal rules that exclude treatments categorized as cosmetic or weight reduction. Here's what that means in real terms. 3 GLP-1 drugs used for chronic weight management, Wegovy, Saxenda, and Zepbound, will not be covered by Medi-Cal starting January 1st, 2026. There are only a few narrow exceptions. Wegovy may still be covered with prior authorization for certain liver or cardiovascular conditions. Zepbound may still be covered with prior authorization for obstructive sleep apnea. Other GLP-1 medications, including Ozempic, Mounjaro, and Trulicity, will remain covered by Medi-Cal only for the treatment of type 2 diabetes and only when the program's medical necessity requirements are met. There's one exception for children and teens. Medi-Cal patients under age 21 may still qualify for GLP-1 therapy for weight loss indications if a prior authorization request is submitted and approved. What remains unclear is how many adults will lose access. State officials have not provided an estimate, but a national poll found that about 38% of people who have ever used GLP-1s took them only for weight loss, not for another chronic condition. This decision does not exist in isolation. States across the country are facing growing pressure to cut Medicaid spending, and high-cost medications are often the first target. At the same time, the White House is pushing in the opposite direction, with efforts aimed at lowering GLP-1 prices through most favored nation pricing and expanding Medicaid and Medicare coverage of GLP-1s for the treatment of obesity. It remains to be seen how these federal efforts will affect what each state ultimately chooses to cover and whether patients will be able to realistically afford to stay on these medications long term. For now, in California, the door to treatment for the disease of obesity just became much harder to open. So the federal program with Medicaid, states still have to opt into it. Mm-hmm. So I think right now there's 12 or 13 states that have opted into a program that would currently cover them. So the vast majority of states are not doing things like this. We'll see what happens with it moving forward, but it's not automatic. Every 50 state, everywhere you live is going to
California
cover it.
is not here for it.
Not unless they change their plan, no.
In story number 11, for most of her adult life, Oprah Winfrey has struggled with her weight. Me too, Oprah. Listening to her talk about it feels deeply familiar for so many of us. For years, she believed what many of us were taught to believe, that if she just tried harder, everything would finally change. But through her conversations with Yale endocrinologist Dr. Ania Jastreboff, Oprah learned something that reshaped how she sees her body and her past. Having obesity is not a choice, and it's not about willpower. Obesity is a disease, and it's not our fault. Oprah and Dr. Jastreboff have now announced a new book called Enough: Your Health, Your Weight, and What It's Like to Be Free, which brings together the science behind obesity with Oprah's personal experience living with obesity in the public eye. Dr. Jastreboff explains how our biology, not our behavior, drives weight. She talks about the brain's defended weight, which she calls the body's enough point, and how new treatments can finally help lower that set point instead of forcing us to fight our bodies every day. She also shares practical guidance for supporting health and managing side effects, grounded in decades of research and patient care. Many of her patients describe the same thing. The food noise quiets, the constant mental battle around eating fades. For the first time, they feel freedom instead of shame. Oprah has said that learning the science has been life-enhancing. She has been honest about how much her weight struggles were judged, misunderstood, and exploited. Once she understood that obesity is a medical condition, she was finally able to let go of the blame that she carried for so long. The book will be released on January 13th. It's already a bestseller on Amazon. I've pre-ordered my copy and I can't wait to read it. In fact, I think many of our viewers will be interested in this book as well. In February, I will be hosting a live book club type discussion right here on our channel, The Downsized. We will talk about the book and go through the chapters. It will be a multi-week series starting Thursday, February 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'd like for this to be an interactive discussion, much like our current live YouTube shows. You can buy the book on our Amazon store. The link is in the description. We are Amazon affiliates and we make a small commission on each purchase.
So a new book, that's exciting.
Can't wait to read it. I literally can't wait to read it.
Oprah and Dr. Jastreboff, we would love to have you on to talk.
Oh, absolutely. Wouldn't that just be
yeah, I mean, it's
life goals right there to be able to talk to Oprah.
Well, and the doctor is more interesting to me, but
well, yeah, the doctor too. But yeah, I think it's exciting, you know. And she's been interviewed by People magazine, and there have been a couple stories, couple clips going around social media this week from things she said in the book and things she said in the People magazine interview. So I'm very excited to read that.
All right, we look forward to it. Story number 12, Premier Protein is redefining when the new year really begins, and it's a message that speaks directly to people who are using GLP-1s to treat the disease of obesity. The brand this week launched a new campaign declaring Monday, January 5th, which is today, as the true start of the year, partnering with comedian and actor Michelle Buteau to tell Americans it's okay to wait until real life settles back in. To kick off the effort, Premier Protein is hosting what it calls a ceremonial protein drop. From January 5th through January 9th, viewers in New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, Miami, and Atlanta can visit goget2026.com between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. to claim a free Premier Protein high protein shake delivered to their door while supplies last. That's right, free Premier Protein. And the shakes, as we all know, contain 30 grams of protein and come in chocolate, vanilla, caramel, and cafe latte.
And other flavors too.
Yeah, there's a bunch. Even though it's New Year's Day, I'm not in a go-get-'em mode yet, Buteau said in a statement. That's why I teamed up with Premier Protein. It's okay to start the new year when real life settles back in. Premier Protein says January 5th reflects the point when schools reopen, offices fill back up, and routines finally return. For this community, of course, that timing is not just symbolic. If you're using a GLP-1, you already know that the old rules do not apply anymore. Appetite is different, portions are smaller, skipping meals is easy, and protein is no longer a gym buzzword. It's how you stay upright through the day. Over the past year, high-protein coffee, water, fortified cereals, and ready-to-drink shakes have exploded across our grocery aisles. That trend was not born in a boardroom. It was built by patients who had to learn to fuel their body on medications that changed how hunger works. Premier Protein is for people who get after it, whether that's in the gym or in everyday life, says Kristen Rasmussen, Associate Director of Marketing for Premier Protein. We know it's hard to fight the holiday haze. We're giving people permission to start when they're ready. The campaign will roll out across connected TV, social platforms, and out-of-home advertising throughout January. For those of you watching who are using GLP-1s to treat the disease of obesity or who would like to be, this is not about a brand campaign. It's about recognizing how much your daily choices have reshaped the food landscape. The protein-forward grocery aisle exists because of you. The conversation about fueling a smaller appetite exists because of you. The community is not following a trend. You're creating it. We were in our local Target this weekend, and the entire main aisle outside of grocery was all protein-focused products, like stack outs and end caps. The whole thing was.
Yeah, usually January 1st you see a return to fitness. People want to, get away from the holiday eating, turn to some healthier eating. So yeah, we've always seen this every January 1st, right? But now this January 1st, really the focus is on protein. So many protein products, and Premier Protein has been around for a long time. Yeah. Their shakes taste good. The ready to drink ones are easy to throw in your gym bag and go. So glad to see it.
If you're one of those folks who's sitting out there and you haven't started yet, or you've just started, make sure you go back the last few days and look at our 2 quick start videos that we did, because it walks you through the 20 questions that you may be asking about how to do all of this.
Well, protein, that's key to a GLP-1 journey, and protein shakes are an easy way to hit those targets.
Yep, and that's, of course, one of the answers to the questions, so make sure you check it out. Those are today's stories, and as always, they remind us just how quickly this space is changing and how important it is to stay informed together. As we start 2026, remember, you can always find support at thedownsized.org. That's where you'll find our GLP-1 Amazon store. We are Amazon affiliates. Our email list, please sign up for it. Details on our Downsized at Sea cruise in June on Royal Caribbean's Freedom of the Seas, and a link to join our YouTube membership. Club Downsized is our YouTube membership and our inner circle. Members get exclusive live streams, custom emojis and badges, and a closer connection to everything we're building here together.
Don't forget to check out our Amazon store and pre-order your copy of Oprah's book, Enough. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in joining me for the book club in February.
If today's episode helped you, please like this video and subscribe to The Downsized. And if you're ready to take the next step with us this year, we would truly love to welcome you into Club Downsized.
As we move into the new year, thank you for being here. We look forward to another year of empowering people on their GLP-1 journeys. And just a quick programming note, we're back to our regularly scheduled programming Wednesday night for our Downsized Live. Join us at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday. This is where we answer your questions, celebrate your wins, and talk through whatever's on your mind. We can't wait to spend that time with you.
I'm Christopher Durham.
I'm Laraine Durham.
And we are The Downsized.